Anything could happen to anybody. Why did my life turn into like this? I don't know. Nobody understands my feeling unless they had the same experience I had.
Once upon a time, there was a very smart and talented man, called Leecho. Leecho passed difficult exams, and became a government official at a young age. But, he didn't enjoy his job. He had very high pride, and could not flatter around, or socialize with less talented people.
No way that I continue to work with incompetent people. I can become a legendary poet and want to leave my mark on history.
After a few years, he left his job. He secluded himself, in the mountains, to focus on making poems. But, it was not easy to raise his fame as a poet. His life was getting difficult.
My poems are great. Why isn't my talent recognized? Why? I have no idea.
He was full of frustration. He lost a lot of weight, so he is not what he used to be. After a few years, he decided to go back to work as a local official for money, since he had a wife and children. This decision came from the despair of his talent as a poet. However, it was even more difficult than before. His colleagues, whom he looked down before, were now in high positions. He needed to follow their commands. That hurt his pride so much. He became eccentric, and isolated even more. 1 year had passed. One night he was on a business trip. He finally lost his mind. He suddenly woke up with a pale face. He ran into the outside darkness, calling out words that nobody understood. He has never come back. Police searched nearby mountains but nobody saw him after that. One year had passed. Ensign, who was a high-ranked official, went on a business trip with his staff. They stayed at an inn near the mountain, where Leecho had disappeared. Ensign needed to leave before the dawn. But, the inn manager said,
"There was a tiger on your way. People had been killed by it. You should not leave until the break of dawn."
No. I should be fine, since I have many staff.
Ensign dismissed his advice, and left, while it was still dark. While going through the forest under the weak moonlight of the morning, Ensign and his staff encountered a tiger. The tiger started to fiercely attack Ensign, but just before reaching him, it suddenly changed the direction, and went into the bush.
Oh, that was so close. I had almost attacked him.
Ensign was surprised with fear, but he recognized the voice and called out suddenly.
"Are you my friend, Leecho?"
Ensign, who passed the difficult exam with Leecho, was the only good friend of him. Leecho never had conflicts with Ensign, because of his gentle personality. There was no reaction from the bush for a while, then, a weak sobbing voice came.
"Yes. I am Leecho, indeed."
Without fear, Ensign got closer to the bush, and greeted politely.
"Oh, it is you, Leecho. Great see you again. When was the last time we saw each other? Would you come out, and show me your face?"
"I cannot. I became obese, and don't want to show you this pitiful figure." "But Ensign, I am so happy to see you again. Can we talk for a while?"
Somehow, Ensign didn't think that it was strange, nor felt any fear. He ordered his staff to stay here for a while. He stood next to the bush, and talked with Leecho. They talked about what happened in their hometown, how their friends were, and so on.
"Leecho, why did you end up like this?"
"Oh. It was 1 year ago. I was on a business trip. I woke up at night, and heard a voice, calling from outside darkness. It was irresistible. I got out, and noticed that the voice from the darkness was repeatedly inviting me.
Leecho.
I mindlessly
Leecho.
followed the voice.
Leecho.
Without realizing, I was running in the forest. I noticed that I was running with my hands on the ground. I felt stronger, and kept running, over the rocks and cliffs. Then I noticed, my arms and hands were covered with fur. In the morning, I stopped at a river to drink water, and saw the reflection of myself. It was a tiger. At that time, I could not believe what was happening. Then, I realized, it was not a dream. I had wondered, why I became a tiger. All animals live without thinking why. I thought of death, but right at the moment, a rabbit passed in front of me. When I saw it, I lost my human mind. When my mind was back, my mouth was smeared with blood, and rabbit fur was scattered around. It was my first experience as a tiger. Since then, I had lived like this. But, there are several hours a day, I get my human mind back. I can recall my cruel acts, and curse my fate in those hours. I also know, those human hours are getting shorter, day by day. I used to think, why I became a tiger, but now I think about why I used to be a human. I am terrified. Someday, my human mind will completely disappear. Before that happens, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Would you please write down my poems? I can't die without leaving my mark on history.
Ensign gladly accepted his request, and had his staff record the voice from the bush. All poems were elegant and revealed his genius. However, Ensign felt like this.
I see. There is no doubt that he has a talent for poems. But, something is missing that will make them first class.
Leecho suddenly changed his tone of voice, to self-deprecating tone, after finishing his old poems.
I, as a tiger, still dream that noble people reading and enjoying my poems. That is a dream I have when I am sleeping in a rock cave. You can laugh at me, a poor man, who I became a tiger, not a poet. Oh, I can improvise a poem, to show my feeling. That will be a proof, I am still alive in this tiger. I happened to be mentally ill, and became a beast. Series of misfortunes, I could not avoid. Now, who is willing to oppose my nails and fangs? In the past, both you and I had good reputations. I stay in the bush as a beast. But you are successful, and able to ride a car. This evening, instead of reciting a poem, I can only fiercely roar toward the bright full moon, shining over the mountains and valleys.
Ensign and his staff were deeply moved. The light of the morning moon and the wind coming through woods were cold.
I had told you that I didn't know why I became a tiger. But now, I think I know why. Everyone, in this world is taming his own beast. In my case, my beast was, my cowardly self-esteem, and, arrogant sense of shame. I was too afraid to know that I had limited talent, but at the same time, I had too much pride, to admit it, and improve. I avoided socializing, didn't have a poem master, nor made the effort to learn from other poets. I ended up in putting my family and myself into suffering. My human mind is fading away day by day. I often roar to ease my fears. All animals are scared, and stay away from me. The moon and the mountains keep silent. Nobody understands me. It is the same as when I was a human.
Dawn was breaking.
The time I return to a tiger is approaching. I want to ask you to do me one more favor. My wife and children don't know how I am doing. When you came back from the business trip, please visit and tell them I died, please don't tell them what you saw today. I am afraid I am asking too much of you, but could you take care of them so they never starve and freeze?"
Ensign nodded with tears in his eyes.
I would be honored to do what you wish.
I should have asked you about my family first if I was a human. My priority is my dream to become a poet, not my family's happiness. This is why I became like this. Ensign, please don't use this road anymore. I will lose all my human mind soon, and may attack you next time. When you get up to the hill, please look back. I will show you my real figure as a tiger. If you see my ugly appearance, you won't have an idea to see me again.
I understood. Goodbye, my friend, Leecho.
When Ensign and his staff arrived at the hill, they looked back to the glass land in the forest, where he had met Leecho. A tiger leapt out from the bush, and looked up the pale moon. It fiercely roared several times, and disappeared back to the bush. Nobody saw the tiger after that.